Hi again, Dave Kites from the Oto Wood Shop. This evening we're making a very short video, I hope, about a small jig that is used for cutting bevels on the table saw, where you bevel, lean the blade over 45 degrees or whatever angle you want, and cut the bevel on the edge of a board, like this base board. If you needed a bevel cut here and a bevel cut here, so you could do a corner. This is the kind of thing that this will do. You can use it to bevel just about any moderate size thickness piece of wood on here, and it can be up to this wide, which is what, 10 or 11 inches, but it can be quite long, as you'll see. It can hang over the sled, and you can actually use the fence. If your piece is longer than the sled, you can bring the fence over here and use it to make pieces the same size if you want to. So we're going to see how to do that. But first, we have to get the saw ready. So we have to, when we're going to do the bevel cuts here with the sled, this stuff gets in the way. So we're going to put the small bevel, the small arriving knife in instead, and you would put on a blade which would be appropriate for what you were cutting, and usually that'll be a fine tooth blade because you're probably cutting some molding like we got here. So we do that. Now you remember from in orientation and everything that the saw stop will go on a 45-degree bevel using the normal insert. You don't have to have a special insert with a big hole in it. We keep the lock on the bevel adjustment of the saw locked. The elevation one, remember, we don't care. You can lock it or not lock it, because everybody's supposed to check it when they use it. So we're going to go right around here, and we're going to do 45. So there's the stop. But we want to be as precise as we can reasonably be. So we have, the shop has in the red 2 drawer, compass, bevel, etc. drawer, we have a Wixie gauge. So we can turn it on with that button. It says error and so on and so on and so on. The way you use it is it's got a magnet at the bottom, so you put it on the saw table and you press, when you put it on the saw table, you press the 0 button over here, and then it zeroes. Then you pick it up, put it on the blade, not on a tooth, but on the flat part of the blade. And now I can read over here, and it says 45.4 degrees. So now I can take my wheel and I can go back and forth with it until I get it all the way to 45. And I'm going to lower it down. All right. So then, that done. Now the saw will only bevel to the left, but if you're making inside corners and outside corners, you may need to use the sled on both sides of the blade. So it goes in here. Now this track is the T-style, so you have to slide it in from the end because it's got the wide flange at the bottom to hold it in there. But once you put it in, you'll see I made it so it comes very close to the blade. So you can practically use this edge as the indicator as to where that cut is going to come out on the top of this piece. Okay. Oops, I told you wrong. I told you that because this edge is really close to the blade, that it will indicate, this edge will indicate where the blade was going to come through on the piece. And that's not right. Obviously it's not right. It's the bottom edge that is where this cuts. So you really don't have an indicator of where this is going to come through on the top piece, unless you try to measure it, and you know with a 45 that the thickness and this distance are going to be the same. But just wanted to correct that. Doesn't tell you where it's coming through on the top. So I could put this, if I just wanted to clean it up, this is fixed, this is adjustable. So you put your molding in there, snug these up a little bit, and you put these down. Now, if they don't, see that one and that one, they're not real tight. There's a couple things you can do. I put wing nuts on here. You can open these up, and then this is a 10 centimeter nut here, metric, because the clamps are metric. Well, oops number 2 in this video. I thought it was just worth a second to correct. I said this was a 10 centimeter nut. It's a 10 millimeter nut. It is metric, 10 millimeters. But we have metric wrenches in the drawer over there, in the drawers on the shelf, and they'll fit there. So you can loosen this up and use the wing nut in that, and adjust the height of the foot to adjust the tension on the clamp, and it'll work for you. Or it's easy to just have some little thin scraps of wood around, and if I just want to put these here, now I can pop this down, and I got it tight. So either way, I'm going to just put these down. These two are holding it pretty good. These will also move back and forth, so if you get this up real close for a short piece of wood, they won't bump into each other, and you can get all 4 of them on your little piece of wood. So you just put it in there like that, and I think I probably have it so it's not going to cut the whole thing, and it isn't. So I'll move it over a little bit more. There. Okay. We'll turn it on and we run it through. I'll do that. Wait for the saw. The thing about flipping it over and so on, if you're doing an outside corner, okay, then you need the long side to be on the outside face of the piece on both of them. The long side being, you know, when you cut the bevel, it's like this, and the long side's there and the short side's there. So that's that. If you're doing an inside corner, then the pieces come like this, then it's the opposite. So you need to flip the piece when you cut it to get the other end cut right. And if you have a piece of molding that is got humps in it like that or something, and it won't lay flat when you flip it over, then you can take this whole sled out, put it on the other side of the blade, and cut over on this side, and you'll be able to cut the piece the way it needs to be cut to make that inside corner. Okay. This part here comes close to the blade, just like this part comes close to the blade when you put this on the other side. All right, so I don't like to run wood past the back edge of the blade if I don't have to, because sometimes if it's not aligned exactly, or if there's a little play in your sled, it'll drag on there and mess up your cut. But it does a super nice job of the bevel. And so if this other end needed a cut, let's say you could not flip it over, you don't want to put it down this way, then I can turn it around like this and I can get a cut this way, but that may not be what I need. So that would mean I would have to turn it over this way and put this over on that side of the sled, and then I can get it cut the way I want to because the blade is at the other angle. Okay, I think that's clear enough. So if we cut the other one, we'll get a nice 90 degrees. It's a very simple thing, but it is handy. There. And they match up quite well. And it will be 90. You can check it with a square, but it'll be 90. Okay, well, that's a little TSBS jig, and I'm keeping that on the bottom shelf there on the right-hand side of the under the table here of the #1 saw stop. Hope you can use it.